Oh, awesome. Hey guys, how's everybody doing tonight? Welcome to the Real Results Show, where we feature real health coaches and health practitioners getting real health results for their clients and, of course, themselves. As always, I'm your host, Brendan Vermeyer. I'm a clinical advisor for FDN, and I'm the director of our tribe's awesome association, where we get to support our community with ongoing education regarding a variety of different clinical and business building topics. So this week, I'm actually really stoked to have one of my good friends and colleagues, Brandy Buskow, on our show. Brandy actually completed the course all the way back in 2014 and has been an amazing FDN practitioner, ambassador, and then also part of the FDN staff and team. So Brandy, welcome to the show tonight.
Hey, Brendan, thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, I'm really excited, so not just an FDN graduate or practitioner, but also the head of our medical director program, which is our direct-to-consumer program that we created to allow FDN practitioners to be able to get that testing for their clients. So that way we have that objective data to go off. But, to kind of kickstart this conversation, because I want the whole world to know how awesome you are the way that I know that. But what brought you to FDN? Like, what first attracted you to the FDN world? And we'll see where we go.
Yeah, sure. So as you mentioned, I graduated in 2014, and it took me about a year to take the course. But before that, I had a really difficult second pregnancy. So I have 4 kids. My first pregnancy was twins, super easy postpartum. And then I got pregnant pretty quickly, actually, after them with my daughter. And that pregnancy was pretty difficult. I mean, I had 2 little kids at home. And after having, giving birth to her, I just started getting a whole bunch of symptoms. So I have a history of IBS, anxiety, depression, which I was able to manage before with lifestyle, but that came all back like super fierce after giving birth to her. And every time I went to a doctor, they said, "Oh, you're just stressed out, or you're tired. You've got 3 kids. Here's an antidepressant medication." And being as I'd been down that road before, I was like, no, I'm not depressed. Yes, I'm tired, but there's something more going on. My body hurts all over. My digestion is a mess. My anxiety is through the roof. Like, there's just something not right here. And so I actually went and started working with a naturopath after I'd been to several different doctors. And, I worked with her for about 6 months, but she didn't do any testing. And all she kept giving me was different supplements, like, try this supplement, then try that supplement. And it didn't really work, and things weren't getting better. So I was really frustrated, and I kind of put my researcher hat on, and I started digging around on the internet and kind of came across some sites about lab testing and functional lab testing. And so I looked into it in my area, and there was only one place that offered it. It was super expensive. So at the time, 3 kids, and I was at home, I couldn't really afford that. But it turns out I started listening to podcasts at that time too. And I was a really big fan of Sean Croxton and Underground Wellness. And Reed had just done a podcast with him, and then a webinar. So I watched the webinar about the FDN course, and I was hooked. Like, I just was like, okay, I resonate with everything he's saying. This totally makes sense. I got off that webinar and I said to my husband, I know we can't afford it, but I need to take this course. If nothing else, just to see what's going on with me, because nobody else was giving me answers. So I took the FDN course, I did the testing, and, lo and behold, I found out I had celiac. I had a lot of food sensitivities. My hormones were a mess. So, it gave me a lot of really good answers. And I just got super passionate after that. I just wanted to spread the word and tell everybody how awesome FDN is, and that there's a different way. And if you've been to the doctor and they've told you that you're crazy, that you're not, and there's something that you can do.
Yeah. Whew. Man, what an exciting story. And literally, just like all the real results shows that, we've done so far, that is always the reoccurring theme, is to the tune of, I didn't feel good, went to the doctor, they said everything's normal, it's all in your head, take this pill, it'll all go away, but it didn't, and then we don't take that. And I really can't wrap my head around the people that would accept that as like an answer of like, oh, okay, there's nothing wrong with me. No, I mean, if you don't feel like you feel normal, then there's probably something going on. And so everybody is seeking out that higher education that allows us to dig a little bit deeper. And kind of interesting about the naturopath too. And that's something, I mean, I have a lot of medical doctor friends. I have a lot of naturopathic physician friends. And obviously, you know, mad respect to all parties. But certainly I think there's a lot of inconsistency with like the progression of the investigation, which I feel like that's one of the major things that sets the FDN methodology apart, is we really have a very structured way of how we work with people, how we investigate, you know, and peel those layers of the onion, rather than taking like a shotgun approach of like, well, let's just run a lot of labs. Hopefully we find something, throw some supplement pills, and maybe something gets better. So, but I love that, you know, you dove in and really you just became very passionate because it just perfectly resonated with you. So tell us about your experience going through the course, and, you know, like, who was your mentor? I'm really curious who your mentor was.
It was actually Jill.
Oh, I don't know if I know Joe.
Jill was she was a mentor a while ago. Yeah, she was really great though. I really liked working with her.
Very good. Cool. So then graduated in 2014, and then what happened next? Did you immediately begin practicing, or what did your kind of post-graduation look like?
Yeah, so while I was going through the course, obviously I was doing the protocols, and I kind of mentioned my hormones were a mess. So I did a lot of work on my hormones, and 2 months after I graduated, lo and behold, I got pregnant again with my fourth baby. So that kind of put the brakes a little bit on starting my practice because I was already super busy, but an opportunity to work with FDN came up a couple months after I graduated, and I applied and they hired me, and I started with FDN, and I've been working behind the scenes with them ever since. It's been an amazing experience. And after my son was born, you know, I took a little bit of time to spend time with him, and then I started to work on my own practice on the side. So I do most of my work with FDN, but I do have a handful of clients that I work with, and I love it. I mean, it's just, I've been doing it now for, I guess it's going on 5 years. It's a lot of fun. Yeah,
absolutely. And, you know, I think it's amazing the ability to kind of, because, you know, I'm sort of in the same boat of, you know, I was starting my business, my practice, also working for FDN as mentor. And, you know, then here we both are, and we're part of the A team, and obviously keep the show running. But I think that's amazing. How did, were you in any kind of like health coaching type role before, or was FDN like your first health coach type education? Or
this was my first course. But having said that, I mentioned I had a history of anxiety and depression. So in my mid-20s, I was on anxiety medication. I think I tried 3 or 4 different ones for a year, and I just didn't really like the way it made me feel. And I wanted to get off of them. And luckily for me, my grandmother was really holistically minded. And so she took me to a health food store, and the lady that owned the store was an herbalist. And she gave me some suggestions of some herbs that I can use to try to get off the medication. So I did work with my doctor. I don't recommend anybody just do it cold turkey, but I worked with my doctor, and I also used the herbs while cutting down on the medication. And it was amazing. I felt so much better. And so that really actually sparked my interest in alternative health. And so since then, I've just been kind of self-researched, but I never took any courses officially. So that experience really kind of propelled me forward. And, you know, so much so that before I got pregnant with my twins, my husband and I were like deep into, let's prepare our bodies for pregnancy. We were going to the farmer's market, all organic, grass-fed. And our boys, even though they were premature, super big, super healthy, like really good boys. I contribute that to all the work we did before I got pregnant with them.
Absolutely. And what an admirable thing. You know, it's that's something I'm pretty passionate about, of anybody that's wanting to get pregnant. I feel like you got to put in, I don't know, I would say like a solid year of health building You think of just how quickly our cells turn over, but the liver replaces itself like every 3 months or something. It's like, give yourself a year so that like your entire body and all of the cells are just squeaky clean, fully functional, because you've been building up to that. And I don't think people really think of it that way. I don't think they think of like, let me prepare to get pregnant. It's, well, let me get pregnant and then I'll eat a little bit healthier while I'm pregnant. So I really commend you. And I think that's part of what makes you such a great role model for a lot of your clients, or even just anybody, tuning in. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm passionate about that because I've seen the difference in my pregnancies from having all that time to prepare compared to the other ones where I didn't. And my boys are like my twins, they're super healthy, no food sensitivities, their gut is really strong, even though they were premature. Whereas if you compare it to my daughter, I didn't give myself any time to really replenish all those nutrients, and she's got gluten sensitivity and health issues. So it's a really big passion of mine to really preach and teach preconception health. And then with my experience postpartum, I really love working with women, teaching them how to take care of themselves postpartum as well, because I think that's really, really important.
Oh, absolutely. Definitely. Wow, that's really cool. We were just doing that detective hour like an hour ago and talking about an infertility case. I didn't realize that, fertility and, pre-postpartum was kind of your niche, which sort of answers one of my, favorite questions, if there is like a specific demographic, and certainly I think your vibe attracts your tribe. So then, do you get a lot of those types of cases just from putting that energy out there into the universe, and then they start kind of coming to you?
Yeah, I mean, I work on a team with she's a fertility coach, so she does a lot of the mind body stuff for fertility. Cool. But I work on her team doing the FDN side of things, and we do a lot of educating and teaching. And every time I do a webinar or I do a podcast with her, I get on my soapbox about the importance of preconception and, taking the time and being patient, because with fertility, people they don't want to wait. They want to get pregnant right away, but it's so worth taking, 6 months to a year to really take care of yourself and get yourself ready.
Yeah, absolutely. So when you were going through the course and after, running some of the different labs, working through protocols, how did that help you with not just feeling better, but also really seeing the objective data that shows the improvement? If you want to share any of that.
Yeah, so I mean, the data was good because it actually confirmed that I wasn't crazy. Like doctors had told me there was something going on. And I think sometimes you can get overwhelmed with all of the data. But the nice thing about FDN is that, okay, we have this data, but we have a plan and we know what to do. And so that was really great because I just followed the protocol and things started to improve. And I think the other thing that happens when you go through the protocols and you take the course is you really learn to listen to your body. Yes. So, I mean, at this point, I know, like, if I don't sleep well, I can usually figure out why. Like, I can listen to the clues of my body so easily now. And that's kind of the goal that I want to have with my clients when I'm working with them. I want to get them to that point where they can use their own intuition and listen to their body and know when something isn't working, and they can usually figure out what it is. And I think that's my biggest takeaway from the course is just slowing down, tuning in, having a plan, moving forward. And we're all a work in progress. I mean, my health isn't perfect. It ebbs and flows. I think every practitioner will tell you that, but at least I have a plan and I know what to do. And that's what's really great about FDN and the community is we all are camaraderie and cheer each other on, and, we support each other.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And, you bring up a really good point that is something I don't think people talk enough about. I think I see this trend of a lot of times people are, I don't know, almost kind of looking for something to blame their issues on, it seems, of kind of like, oh, well, like celiac happened to me, or this parasite infection happened to me. This piece of paper is showing it's not my, fault. This is, but the thing is, to really accomplish true metabolic healing, people really have to take ownership of their health and step up and take control. And that's where I always like to help people understand the lab testing really kind of serves two purposes. It informs the practitioner, what are the major hidden stressors that are contributing to the client's ailments and health struggles. So that way we, know how to build an effective protocol to help them, through that. At the same time too, like you said, proves you're not crazy. It validates the necessity. Like, gluten intolerance is a great example, since we've been kind of talking about that. Nobody wants to go gluten-free if you don't have to.
No.
People eat that stuff, at least 3 times a day, all day, every day for decades and decades. So nobody's going to want to eliminate that just because you say, hey, this might be a problem for you. So it's like you have to have that piece of paper that proves, look how much it's hurting you. But I think that's really great. And as you said, teaching that, using that objective data, but then using it to teach them how to be more in tune, because it seems like nobody's in tune with their bodies anymore.
No, absolutely not. And it's, every single time I work with my clients and I teach them that, they'll come back to me a couple weeks later and they'll say, I cheated and I felt horrible. And I said, well, that's a lesson. And they're like, you know what? I never really noticed how bad I felt eating the way I was eating. They're like, I don't want to feel that way again. And so more and more, like when they come to me and they're like, well, this is going on, I ask them, well, what do you think your body's trying to tell you? And each time they get better at being able to kind of listen to the clues, listen to their body, figure it out, talk it through. I'm not telling them what's wrong. Like, I'm helping them to figure it out or come to the solution on their own, so to speak. I'm just guiding them along the way.
Yes. I love how you said that. I was just going on a soapbox today because I don't know. I've really, my attitude has shifted a little bit where, people, I think, like, oh, you're my practitioner. So, or you're my doctor, you're whatever to me. So you're in control of my health. No. Like, no. I am not in control or responsible for your health. You are, and so that's how I like to describe it too, is, we're your partner in health. We're your journey guide. We're going to hold your hand and walk this path with you and guide you through all of the metabolic chaos. So I totally agree. Now, something I really want to take advantage of tonight, since we have you on the show, is the medical director program. So obviously, one of the biggest things that really sets FDN apart from anything else out there, or any kind of, health coaching or practitioner type training program, really is the lab testing. We're not just spitting out generic, basic recommendations. We can get really pretty specific and targeted because of the lab testing. So I'd love to hear, kind of in your own words, what is the medical director program? How does that work? And, serving our community and our clients with being able to access all these amazing testing technologies.
Yeah. So, Reed really wanted to create the medical director program so that FDNs could have access to the testing. And we don't just offer every single test that's out there. There's so many tests. We can't offer everything. Mm-hmm. And so anytime we add something to our menu of tests that are available to our practitioners, we look at a couple of objective things. What's the value in the test? What information is it going to give us? Is it cost effective for our clients? We don't want them running like a $2,000 test or something like that. And there's some out there like that. Mm-hmm. Is it effective? Does it have a track record? When we get the data from it, can we use it? Can we use that information? And does the information fit within the FDN model? So we're not diagnosing or treating anything. We're using the testing to give us clues so that we can guide our recommendations to our clients, which are mostly lifestyle. And so I think that's what's really great about the medical director program, is that we do have access to those labs, and our medical directors are both really big fans of FDN and the philosophy and what we do. And so they give us the ability to be able to access these tests. And I think it's a really big privilege that FDNs have. And it's one thing that sets us apart from a lot of the other, schools out there. A lot of them are great, but FDN, that's what makes it different. And we teach everybody that we're not treating the test results. Like, we don't treat the paper. We're just using it to give us clues and to guide us in a direction to help our clients.
Exactly. I'm really glad to, have the best explanation for it that we could with you on the show tonight, because, it's the biggest thing that sets us apart is, our health building programs are built on objective data that is individualized to that client's unique physiology. And I don't know. I mean, that's obviously what brought me to FDN is I just, having been a personal trainer and nutrition health coach for however long, I never could wrap my head around why would I be trying to help somebody reach a health goal without having objective data about their health. It has never made sense to me since day one of my career, which is why I was always, gunning in this direction. But I think it's also really important to hear what you just said, because there's so many direct to consumer lab things popping up. And I mean, it is a very easy thing to kind of get sold on of like, ooh, I'm going to buy this fancy looking test. It's going to tell me this, and I'm going to take a few things and it's all going to be better. And that's not how it works. And any, functional, integrative, alternative practitioner knows it's an art and it's complex. And so you're exactly right. And that's something we really pride ourselves on at FDN is, we vet out the labs that we're using. Do they have the track record? Are they cost effective? Are they clinically helpful? Do they help us move the needle? Period.
Right.
Otherwise, why do it? And so I think that's something that a lot of consumers need to be very cautious and aware of is there are a lot more direct to consumer things getting marketed in their face all the time. I can't scroll through Instagram without getting a lot of that. But again, you need to be working with a well-educated practitioner that understands the way that the lab game works. Because even a lot of, doctors and naturopaths or whatever, again, kind of that run the test, throw supplements at it. And that's not how it works. Go ahead.
I was just going to add, we have a method. So It's not like we start with this test and that test. And, there's a method behind the sequence of labs that we do run and the way that Reed teaches it in the FDN course. I mean, there's reasons why we do things the way we do. We don't just pick and choose random labs and kind of shoot in the dark and see what we can figure out. I mean, we do things strategically, and it's proven. I mean, that's why Reed created the FDN course, because he did all of these labs on hundreds and hundreds of clients, so he knows what works. And we're just duplicating what he learned and he's teaching us, and it does work. And I think that's what makes us different, for sure.
Totally. And something that I see as bad habit in kind of the alternative functional industry is that, running, this fancy new, sexy lab test that just came out. And there isn't that framework. There isn't that kind of organized, structured, progressive methodology. And a lot of times they overcomplicate it, and making a case more complicated or getting all this, fancy data that doesn't equal a better outcome. And so that's why, again, I think, as you're saying, that having the FDN methodology, the framework, the progressive system of how we start moving that needle, what are we looking at first? The gut health, the inflammation, oxidative stress, indigestion, let's look at those fundamental things. And then we have all these other labs that we can use, to dig deeper and kind of further investigate as needed. So I'd also love to hear you talk a little bit about the medical director consults and the clinical advisor team, and how that's such an excellent thing of you don't just have to go through the FDN course and good luck, but we have that extra layer of support there.
Yeah, so anytime you order a test through the medical director program, you actually get a 30-minute consult with a very experienced FDN. So even if you weren't taught on how to interpret or use a specific lab, you're always going to have that support. And, there's so many FDNs, seasoned FDNs, that use those consults every single time. I do every single time. I mean, I'm pretty comfortable with creating protocols and interpreting them and moving forward, but I always like that second set of eyes on the case. And I think that that's something that, you know, that's really invaluable. And we get nothing but amazing feedback about those consults. And they're great. I mean, it's something that every practitioner should.
Oh, where'd she go? I got you. Don't worry. Kicked you out for a second. There you are. You're back.
Awesome. So yeah, I know I was saying that, you know, the clinical advisor sessions are just an amazing perk of FDN because you get that help from a seasoned, experienced FDN practitioner that can really, really help you with their protocol and interpretation. And all the FDNs that use those clinical advisor sessions rave about them.
Totally. So to kind of, for those listening, to kind of summarize, you know, we've covered a lot of amazing, you know, features of the FDN community and course. So it's like, you know, you start out, you're going through the course, you have your mentor that you're working with that's teaching you and guiding you through the course, helping you with your health and your protocols. And then, you know, you graduate, you're running tests through the medical director program. You're able to access all of these amazing tests that are all vetted out, high quality, amazing track record, cost effective, clinically validated. But then even too, you get that extra layer of support with getting to meet with one of the clinical advisors on the team to get that extra set of eyes. You know, it's impossible to be the expert on every test about everything. It's just too much, you know, so that's where, like, you know, when I run an HTMA, I still like to consult with Brandon on like, hey, you know, what do you see? Here's what I see. Or, you know, he like organic acids, whatever. So very cool. Now you're up in Canada, eh?
I am. Yeah, I'm a Canadian.
I think that's like the third time I've done that to you in the past week, eh? But I still think it's funny. So how do you work with clients? Are you virtual, face-to-face, a little bit of both?
All virtual. So everything I do is on Zoom, and we do our sessions on Zoom, and then email, and we talk back and forth with that. Sometimes, excuse me, you know, Voxer to communicate. So,
yeah.
I mean, the option is always to work with people in person, but being online, you can work with people anywhere. So I work with clients in the US. I have some clients in Switzerland, France. I've worked with some people in Australia. So it's really nice. You can help anybody anywhere.
Absolutely. I too am all virtual, and you know, it's fun being able to do face-to-face, but it's just not really efficient in a lot of ways. But yeah, you know, you're unlimited. You can work with clients all over the world. We can, you know, ship lab kits basically all over. There's certainly deviations to what we can get where, but you know, I mean, I managed to get some testing into Egypt, so I'm sure, you know, we can get it just about anywhere. But very cool. We're starting to run a little bit low on time, so I want to make sure I can direct people to where they can learn more about you or reach out to you. So website, social media, all the above?
Yeah, so website is under construction, but that should be up in a couple of weeks. So that is BB Health Coaching. I figured nobody would be able to remember how to spell my last name, so made it easy, bbhealthcoaching.com. They, on Instagram, it's BB Health Coaching, Facebook, BB Health Coaching, and then email is info@bbhealthcoaching.com. So perfect. Pretty similar across the board.
Yeah, pretty easy to remember too. Brandy Buskow or Bosco, right?
Yes.
I was going to say, I was like, that didn't sound right. The one time I said it. Very cool. So bbhealthcoaching.com. So certainly anybody listening, you know, if you are looking for a healing guide with pre-postpartum and fertility, it's definitely right up Brandy's alley of the type of demographic she loves working with. But you know, even a lot of other, she can help you. That's the beautiful thing about the FDN methodology is the principles can be applied to any demographic. You know, anybody struggling with their health, we're going to find healing opportunities, which is what we do. You know, we don't diagnose and treat. We identify hidden stressors and healing opportunities contributing to your metabolic chaos. and then developing a customized health building program that we can hold your hand and guide you down that path. So Brandy, thank you so much for being on the show tonight. It's been awesome hanging out with you today.
Thanks, Brendan. I was excited. It was fun.
Yeah, absolutely. So guys, for those of you listening, be sure to check out BB Health Coaching. And then keep in mind, if you're interested in joining our ranks, I mean, we are actively recruiting. I want you kind of, what's that, Uncle Sam or something. But seriously though, chronic disease has never been worse. At an all-time high, keeps getting worse year by year. It's probably gonna get worse before it gets better, unfortunately. So, I mean, talk about job security, but really, I mean, we're out to save the world here. We're doing a lot of good. We're dramatically improving and quite literally, saving a lot of lives. So you can learn more about the course. If this is resonating with you in any way and you're interested or hesitant, I would highly encourage you consider meeting with one of our course counselors, Jess, Ashley, Piper, awesome girls, awesome ladies that will help you determine, is this the right fit for you? Because it's not a small undertaking. It's a big undertaking, but it's a beautiful one and the most fulfilling, rewarding career I really could ever imagine. So you can go to functionaldiagnosticnutrition.com/counselor to meet with counselor. And keep in mind, you can, of course, enroll in the course if you're like, yes, I'm ready, let's go. functionaldiagnosticnutrition.com/Facebook Live. But again, thank you to Brandy, bbhealthcoaching.com. We'll be back next week with another awesome Real Results show. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. And Brandy, have yourself an amazing night.
Thanks. Good night, everyone.
Night, guys.